make our ending balance $121,472.83. So that'll be our beginning balance for 26. I'm estimating revenue of $164,000. I am estimating expenditures of $180,400, which would leave $105,072.83 for that fund. And again, that's where the road department gets paid. Keep going. The road and bridge. Beginning balance for 25 was $237,320.31. Estimate revenue would be $429,000. Estimated expenditures, $418,000, which would leave $248,320.31. So that will be our beginning balance for 26. I'm estimating revenue for 26 of $444,000. Estimating expenditures of $467,000, which would leave an ending balance of $225,320.31 for road and bridge. Cemetery fund. Beginning balance for 25 is $68,837.68. The estimated revenue of $36,500. I'm doing expenditures of $35,000, which would leave $70,337.68. So that'll be our beginning balance for 26. I'm again estimating revenue of $36,500. That's about average, with the expenditures of $40,000, which would leave a balance of $66,837.68 for the cemetery. Permissive motor vehicle license tax. This is another, well, this is the one that I'm going to plan on taking out for our road repairs this year. So beginning balance for 25 is $331,523.84. Revenue, $76,600. Expenditures, $265,000, which would leave an ending balance of $140,123.84. Beginning balance for 26 would be that. The total revenue for next year, I'm estimating at $75,750. I'm doing expenditures of $150,000, which would leave the fund balance of $65,873.84. American Rescue Plan Fund. Correct me, is this one the one that we have to have spent by the end of next year?
Correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. So the beginning balance on this is $43,900.95. The estimate on revenue is $1,500, and that's because of interest that we get on that fund. Expenditures, I'm estimating $10,000, which would leave a total of $35,400.95. That'll be our beginning balance for 26. I did not estimate any revenue into that account, but then I have expenditures of $35,400.95, so that account would be closed. Fire fund. Beginning balance of 25, $641,446.85. I'm estimating revenue at $561,500. Total expenditures, $777,600, which would leave a, just want to make sure my balance. Yep. An ending balance and beginning balance for 26 are $425,336.85. I'm estimating revenue of $619,500, and I'm estimating expenditures of $659,000, which would leave a ending balance of $385,836.85 for the fire fund. And that is going to be subject to change, obviously. Permanent improvement. So that is the money we had left over from the bond that we can use to make repairs to the actual firehouse. Beginning balance is $501,984.41. We have no revenue for that, so I'm estimating $250,000 for expenditures in case we do any improvements. I know windows and et cetera needs to be done. So that will leave a balance of $251,984.41. Again, the revenue for that account, I'm doing just an expenditure of 50,000 for next year, so that would leave $201,984.41. And that fund, until we run out, will just be available. That is what I am proposing for the 2026 budget. We have questions, we can answer questions, but then if not, we just adjourn the budget and then we. Did you have questions? Okay, so we'll adjourn the hearing, the budget hearing, and then during the regular business, we will need to adopt the budget for me to submit to the budget commission.
Make a motion, we adjourn our
Budget hearing.
Second.
Thank you.
So I'm just gonna leave this, run, I'll turn the audio off. Do my best.
All right. Call meeting to order, Harlan Township Board of Trustees. Reminder meetings being recorded. Please sign in if you have not done so. You join me for the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Claims, we read the minutes from the last meeting.
Board of Trustees of Harlan Township met in regular session this 18th day of June 2025 at regular meeting place of the 8276 State Route 132. Trustees Edward Brzezinski, Kevin Kern, and Marcus Shelton present. Meeting called to order by Mr. Kern at 7 p.m. Mr. Kern asked all present to stand and say Pledge of Allegiance. Minutes read from regular session June 4, 2025. Mr. Shelton made a motion to approve minutes as read, seconded by Mr. Brzezinski. Chief Pegram reported new pickup truck has been delivered and hope to have in service by the end of July or in early August. Chief Pegram attended the third and final all hazards mitigation plan meeting at Warren County. The plan will be for 5 years. Resolution to be passed by November, required to be passed in order to receive state or federal disaster recovery or mitigation grants. Chief Pegram discussed proposed fire and EMS levy. Dale Maggie was part of the levy committee and recommends Board of Trustees to start process for, for levy to be placed on November ballot. Resolution 061825-1. Mr. Kern moved to adopt resolution requesting the county auditor certify to Harlan Township. First, the total current taxable value of Harlan Township, and second, the dollar amount of revenue and the amount of mills outside the 10 mil limitation for fire and EMS proposed pursuant revised code 5705.19I to be placed on the November 4th, 2025 general election ballot, seconded by Mr. Brzezinski. Roll call, Mr. Brzezinski, yes. Mr. Kern, yes. Mr. Shelton, yes. Chief Pegram requested Kennedy Burns change status from fire cadet to volunteer firefighter EMT as 1 year probationary member. Mr. Shelton made a motion to place Kennedy Burns as 1 year probationary member of fire department, seconded by Mr. Kern. Chief Pegram reported received resignation letter from Lieutenant Brian Stiles after serving 28 years as a cadet member of the fire department. Mr. Brzezinski made a motion to accept resignation from resignation of Lieutenant Brian Stiles, seconded by Mr. Shelton. Mr. Mason discussed wheeled excavator. Brood has a unit that will be arriving September or October, costing $226,994. After discussion, Mr. Brzezinski made a motion to sign agreement to purchase wheeled excavator to be inspected after arriving, and board agrees meets requirements of township, seconded by Mr. Kern. Mr. Mason requested board approve 300 tons of gravel to be delivered by Miller Mason for $6,500, seconded by Mr. Shelton made a motion to have 300 tons of gravel to be delivered by Miller Mason for $6,500, seconded by Mr. Kern. Mr. Mason reported Larry Burchett working with Craft Code to get quality and cost for township to apply mastic steel. Mr. Mason reported road department working to level grades when weather permits. Mr. Mason thanked Steve Schulman and Schulman Farm for donating straw that was used to reseed the grapes. Old business, Ms. Williams reminded the Board of Trustees will hold the 2026 budget hearing on July 2nd, 2025 at 6:15 p.m. prior to regular session meeting. Mr. Shelton asked status of the farmers market. Richard Livingston stated he has not signed waiver for Blanchester Farmers Market. Mr. Shelton discussed need to work on completing requirements and getting advertisement for bids for cemetery driveway at Edwardsville Cemetery. Mr. Brzezinski has concerns of location of the driveway. New business, Mr. Brzezinski discussed township appointments to District Number 10 PWIC. After discussion, Mr. Shelton made a motion to appoint Mr. Brzezinski as Harlan Township representative, seconded by Mr. Kern. Mr. Brzezinski discussed mechanical drawings for Station 81 renovations. Received a $12,450 estimate from engineer management company. Mr. Mason asked if could find a company that would give a ballpark figure to complete renovation and requirements from Warren County Health Department. We'll look into options to try to get an amount to make sure project within reasonable amount and within available budget. Mr. Shelton reported R&W will be serving the split units at Butlerville on June 24, 2025. Mr. Shelton discussed Bright Acres requesting to lease room 108 for additional $750 per month, and Kirby Company will like to lease the janitor room for $200 per month. Trustees agreed to lease to Bright Acres and Kirby Company. Ms. Williams discussed due to unavailability of the members of the Board of Trustees need to move the July 16, 2025 regular meeting to July 23, 2025 special session. Community comments. Richard Livingston asked trustees if we'll be making a decision on farmers market at July 2nd meeting. After discussion, trustees agreed to hold farmers market at Butlerville each Thursday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. starting July 17, 2025 and going to September 25, 2025. Mr. Livingston volunteered to help oversee market, and Bridget Ballard will do flyers for the farmers market. Bridget Ballard reported the transition strip from tile to carpet installed at the records room entrance. Dale Mengy asked if intersection of Mara Rossburg Road and Rochester Gazadale Road could be trimmed back to improve visibility. Mr. Kern made a motion to go into executive session to discuss appointment and compensation of public employees in accordance to Ohio Revised Code 121.22G1, seconded by Mr. Shelton. Roll call, Mr. Brzezinski, yes. Mr. Kern, yes. Mr. Shelton, yes. Mr. Kern made a motion to adjourn executive session, seconded by Mr. Shelton. Roll call, Mr. Brzezinski, yes. Mr. Kern, yes. Mr. Shelton, yes. Chief Pegram proposed township staffing process to transition to pay part-time on-call staffing using existing fire fund carryover as temporary fix to current staffing problem. Mr. Shelton made a motion for Chief Pegram to start the process to hire part-time on-call staffing, seconded by Mr. Brzezinski. Ms. Williams gave written financial report to trustees. Mr. Brzezinski made a motion to pay bills, seconded by Mr. Shelton. Correspondence reviewed. Mr. Shelton made a motion to adjourn, seconded by Mr. Brzezinski. Meeting adjourned at 8:43.
You have any corrections?
I have no corrections.
I have none. I have a motion to accept the minutes as read.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as read.
Second.
You?
Thank you, John. Mr. Raleigh, give your presentation.
I'd be honored to. Where do you want me to? Right.
Wherever you would like.
Well, I
You got a badge and a gun.
No. Got a couple small handouts here for you, and I just want to take a few minutes to talk about the sheriff's office. I know that Sheriff Sims would always make the rounds, and that's something that I certainly want to continue to do. And I love watching you all conduct business. It is very important. If anybody would want to read it, pass it around. But so for me, it's truly an honor to serve my county. I grew up here. I'm a 1990 graduate of Lebanon High School. I've only had 2 jobs as an adult, United States Army Infantry and the Deputy Sheriff. It's really all I've ever done. So very honored to be here with you all. How do you take over for the most popular sheriff in our county's history? Probably you don't try to fill those shoes. For me, I just came in with a plan and as much energy as I possibly could. We had some significant staffing issues when I took office. Matter of fact, we were as low on staff as we ever have been. So I'm very proud to say that in 6 months, we've hired 30 people. Those 30 are still in training. Those they're coming off training. They're in various stages of training, but we have a full roster, which is very exciting for me. Couple things that I have changed that I think are important for us as governing bodies within this county is, yes, I did bring back snow emergencies. That was a conscious decision that I had made after watching the climate, and I felt honestly that there was nobody better to tell the conditions of the road than a deputy sheriff at the 4 corners of the county. So love it or hate it, I own it. I brought them back. Another thing that you're going to see, which is just a little bit of a philosophical difference that that Sheriff Sims and I had was every one of our deputy sheriffs now have body cams on. And that was a signed purchase order day one. Those body cams are designed to protect you, protect our deputy sheriffs, be a great training aid, and be awesome prosecution. And so far, they've paid dividends. Those are out rolling right now. I have also added 2 canine drug detection canines to the jail. And I'll just say this. Statutorily, the sheriff is responsible for peace in the unincorporated areas of the county, unless you have a contract. But the 2 major components of my job are the jail and the courts. And that jail is a big, big job. So the men and women who run that place are just unsung heroes. And until you have had to tell a parent that their child is dead in your care and custody because of drugs being smuggled in, you don't weigh in on this one. That's not your job, that's mine. And any chance I have an opportunity to rid drugs out of that jail, I'm going to take advantage of it. So we did purchase, and those 2 new canines are in the jail as we speak, training today. I did provide you a little bit of statistical data. Now, statistics, our labor attorney says there's liars, damn liars, and statistics. So I try to give you as much hard numbers as I possibly can. And it is my goal to provide these to you at least biannually through email, if not quarterly. I'm working with our telecommunications department to build an integrated map of crimes that are basically registered throughout the county so you can look on your own and not have to wait on this presentation. But coming to see you all in action, working this awesome township here, you'll see that Harlan Township doesn't account for a whole lot of calls. Let's keep it that way, right? That's our job. And you all, just like everybody else, wants to shore up your borders and boundaries and make sure you keep your hometown feel, and I love that. So Kevin knows that I'm accessible. I'm an easy guy to get a hold of. I love my county. I love my office, and I love the people of this area. It's always one of my favorite areas to work when I was on patrol. These stats right here, they're changing a bit. They are changing. And we all know that the western half of this county is a different animal, right? And we'll just stay right here. I live in Union Township on Shawinigan Road. Got a little bit of acreage there that I can hide on, and I like it just that way. So I will tell you one thing that has been very, very troubling for me is that we, the Warren County Sheriff's Office, hadn't added a deputy sheriff to the general fund since 2014. And I know you all know how much our county has changed in 10 years. I'm very proud to say that the commissioners allowed me to up that a bit, and I hired 2 extra deputy sheriffs this year already, and we'll be pressing for more in the future as we continue to grow. We're not stopping anytime soon. So our agency is 221 strong right now, and I'm very, very proud of who I work with, and proud to serve them and proud to serve you all. So if you have any questions of me, I encourage you to do so. I know you got business to handle. I know you got trials and tribulations in Harlan Township, and I'm here to support you all as best I can. Your fire chief here is an awesome guy. He came up to my office and we sat down for a good hour and just went through a lot of good things and things that are happening, and be proud of what he's trying to do. So any questions of me?
No, sir. Anybody got any questions for Mr. Riley?
I have no
Thank
questions, but I will say that,
Thank you.
living in here in the township or in the county for the majority of my life, the sheriff's department's been exceptional.
Yeah, we are blessed. We are. Very
Not
much.
too many other things to say. I pretty much covered them.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you all very much. I do. It's a tough job. I know you're paid a lot to handle business, but we appreciate what you do.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Chief Beaver, are you ready for your report?
Absolutely. So the report for the month of June, we had 66 runs, very busy month. 27 of those were fire runs, 39 were EMS runs. We did request mutual aid EMS 20 times, which represent 51% of our calls were handled by neighboring departments. A couple equipment repair items. We did have a blowout on tanker 81 a little over a week ago. After that occurred, we noticed that the tire was expired. So fire apparatus have a 7-year time period that they can be in service before the tires have to be replaced. So I asked that we do an inventory of all the tires in our fleet, and we found that we have 21 tires that are 12 years old or older, indicating that all those tires need to be replaced immediately. So we got pricing of approximately $425 per tire mounted. That was the lowest price that we were able to find. So the board action tonight I'm requesting is a motion to approve the purchase and installation of 21 replacement tires on tanker 81, tanker 82, tanker 84, engine 81 by Magulac Tire Service for an amount not to exceed $9,000.
Got a question on that, Steve. Are they coming out to do that, or we got to take all those tires to them?
So I believe that price is to drive the truck there. They'll put the tires on, mount them, and then come back. They charge, Justin would have got the pricing, but I believe they charge mileage and time if you send the guy to us.
I would think for if you're buying that, they're gonna, because if you gave them a materials list for that price, they usually.
We can ask, but I mean, that was the lowest. The other prices were $600-700.
Most farmers, if you're gonna buy a few tires, they kind of waive that. That's what I've seen.
We can ask.
I've seen that in the past, so
Yeah.
this is way more than most farmers.
Yeah.
But anyways, I didn't mean to
No, that's
interrupt you. You want to make a motion to do that?
Yeah, make a motion to purchase 21 tires from Magulac, not to exceed $9,000.
Second.
Thank you. A couple additional items. Tanker 81, as I mentioned, did have a tire blowout. Best One came out and repaired the tire roadside, and still needs one other replacement tire, which we're going to put on there so the front steer tires match. Brush 82 was out of service, but it did go back into service today, and the 2009 Expedition is permanently out of service. All the emergency equipment, like sirens, radios, etc., have been stripped, and it will be listed on Gov Deals for auction soon. And then starting the work on the staffing transition, we continue to advance the department's transition to part-time and paid per call staffing model. In the packet that I emailed to all of you, I get on, this, sorry. To ensure continuity of services through this transition, we plan to utilize unencumbered funds through the end of 2025. And we will be seeking approval of the fire and EMS levy in November. Both elements are essential for the sustainability and the ability to serve the community. So without the unencumbered funds, without the levy passing, we're not going to be able to sustain our operations nor pay people to make runs. I emailed everybody just because it's a 66-page document. Proposed job descriptions for the firefighter, EMS only, firefighter, EMT, firefighter, paramedic, lieutenant, captain, and part-time assistant chief, as well as the proposed pay scale for fire and EMS personnel, a draft employee handbook. It's essentially the township's policy manual rewritten for fire and EMS because what we do is a little bit different. And how our hours of work and scheduling and things like that are different. Any changes from our current policy that I'm proposing for the fire and EMS policy handbook are highlighted for you. So they'll stick out. And there's not a lot, but you'll notice a few little changes. And then I also included some draft operational policies related to part-time staffing. So next steps moving forward, please review those documents that I sent you before the July 23rd meeting. I hope to seek your approval on all the documents and finalize the official transition to part-time and paid per call staffing at the July 23rd meeting with an effective date of staffing the ambulance on August 2nd, 2025. That is my report. The only other item I would add is I'm on vacation next week, and the following week my wife is having a kidney transplant at the Cleveland Clinic, so I will be in Cleveland while she has her surgery. Always available via email and stuff like that. Any questions?
How is your recruitment coming along?
So,
What do you hear? What's the feedback?
as for the part-time,
Hmm?
so ironically, since we announced the move to part-time paid and paid on-call staffing, we have covered almost 100% of our runs. We have 5 or 6 people on duty tonight. Usually we have
That's awesome.
1 or 2. So those people aren't being paid yet, but I think in anticipation of the potential of being hired by Harlan Township as a part-time person, I think that has shown some
Promise.
new enthusiasm. As I mentioned to the board, we had one employee that was looking to leave. He's now going to stay, transition from his current role to being a part-time firefighter paramedic, which we desperately need. The good news is as we push this out to our membership and basically ask people if you want to transition to part-time, are you interested in working a set shift rotation or being PRN, filling in the schedule? We're probably going to be able to staff a paramedic equipped ambulance for probably 4 out of every 7 days. And as this program rolls out, especially if the levy passes, that will allow us to hire additional paramedics, and we'll be able to have a paramedic equipped for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So not only are we going to get out on more runs, so we're less mutual aid, we're going to respond quicker, which means get on the scene quicker, which is good for the patient, and we're going to start providing paramedics more often. So it's kind of a win-win-win, but it's going to cost money. That's the downside. Better service, but it's going to cost money.
How are the surrounding areas?
They're ecstatic. They're tired of making the runs, and as you know,
You were glad to tell them.
they're going to start charging us if we don't fix this problem for ourselves, and the cost to pay them to cover us is going to be more than even the levy would bring in. So the cheapest and best solution is the fire and EMS levy in November. But they're all very supportive. They continue to help us, and we continue to help them.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mason?
Yeah, so I have, obviously it rained here a little bit, Saturday. I don't just missed the rain. We had quite a few culverts, as you can imagine, Lundy, Whitaker, Temple, and Osceola. Those have all been taken care of. Some of them are going to need to be touched up later. We know there's some other smaller culverts that have maybe a little bit less damage, and we know we have some berms that are washed out. So those things will progress here as we have time, but the ones that were the largest hazards, those have been taken care of as far as the culverts go. I know I've looked at both with each of you individually. Rochester Zaddale, those of you who don't travel that road very often, it's a dead end road off Mara Woodville. It has pretty significant damage along the creek and the roadway there. I know both of you have looked at it. Has some different, I think it's one of those projects that we're kind of going to have to start down a plan. This is how we're going to start doing it, and then we might find someone that doesn't work. So the ask here tonight to start, if you guys have a suggestion on we should do a different number, that's fine. I think it's going to be more than this. Would be a motion not to exceed 15,000, and that would include stone, different sizes, the concrete blocks, and some concrete to go over top to shore up that area. So again, I think it'll end up taking more than that. That's going to allow us to kind of get started, see if the process we think is going to work is going to work. So any discussion with that you guys have?
Yeah, we can talk about it for quite a while. I mean, everything that I discussed with you on site, you know, I still feel comfortable with that or feel confident.
Yeah, I just want to say that we don't, you know, the perfect solution, right, would be to pour a wall and probably spend $500,000 at least to, but which just is not in the budget. So, you know, I talked with Kevin about using a combination of the concrete blocks, some C-wrap, maybe some number 2s and concrete in different areas. Obviously, it kind of changes down through there. And just kind of start down that path. We have some areas today. We looked at it first thing this morning, and another section of the road had kind of fallen out underneath. So we're very close to having some undercut of the road. Some places it's pretty much right at the edge now. So we can't really wait too long to start doing at least some shoring in some of those.
We have to do.
Yeah. So
let's have to have a meeting.
the guys are going to start where it's the worst. Start with a plan, and then we may have to modify that plan as we go and see what works and what may not work there. So The ask I have is 15,000 not to exceed for this project on road testing. Is that deal? Good starting there. You want to start at a different place?
See what that starting spot, see what that gets us, get moving on it as quick as we can. We're gonna be losing the whole road.
Yeah, if we have to get another one of those rains, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be good.
We need a motion, not
We're asking for a motion
I'll
not to
make a
exceed
motion.
15,000.
for not to exceed 15,000 to start the project on Morrow Casada.
Rochester.
Second.
Along with the rainfall, I was contacted by resident 8581 Wayne's Way about her flooding that she had. It was pretty significant, which we had significant flooding in many places. She's contacted EMA, Soil and Water, Warren County Engineer's Office. I've also talked to them here this past week. Kind of in Soil and Water hands to get something scheduled to go out and look at the area. There's a lot of runoff from a neighboring farm field. So obviously the township can't do any work outside the right of way. That's private property. We can't do that. So Soil and Water gets involved. There might be some things that can be done through Soil and Water to help alleviate some of her flooding that she has on Wayne's Way. So there's one to discuss. Do you have any questions or comments there?
Has Tanner looked at that yet? Do you know?
I do not know. I just emailed Tanner and I've talked to him directly yet.
Okay.
I met with ProSource last week. ProSource is the provider of our copying machine. Our contract is set to expire here in the next couple of months. When she came out originally, met with Chief Pegram and myself. I asked with my eventually moving another office up into this building, what the cost would be to add an additional copy machine for this building and have two instead of one, just so we knew. I printed it all off and I left it at the office. I apologize for that. So our current, if I remember this right, correct me if I'm off a little bit, our current average cost over the past 12 months is $211 a month. That's the average. That includes the lease of the machine as well as the number of copies that we make. So we're basically billed, we have a contract for a set amount of black and white and color, and then we pay the lease as well as the copies that we make. So it varies. We've been going over on our color copies every month. She adjusted those numbers and added another machine, and that cost goes from $211 to $204 with two machines. So it's a little bit less because just by adjusting the number of copies, we don't add copies, we basically would share between the two machines. So essentially the same price for two machines instead of one machine.
So you're not interested in that extra printer that I have from the
I'm thinking for the same money, probably we just go the route of,
free.
yeah, well, this is pretty close.
We can even use it at the road department, because I need to keep it within the
Okay.
township.
Yeah, so is it an inkjet, I'm assuming?
No, it's a laser. It's a black and, I mean, it's not color, but it's what I use to print checks and all my reports.
I'm just good for the road department because we're buying inkjet print. We're buying lots of ink. So,
But they donate it to the township once they gave me a new one with the new laptop.
Gotcha.
They donate the equipment to the township.
So I guess my ask would be to renew our contract with ProSource for the average price of it's $204 on our current one. I think the base price of the contract changes $40. So additional $40 a month for the other machine. And that cost does include the toner for the machine. So we're not, we pay per copy, not for the actual cartridges themselves. So questions, comments?
Motion for that. We don't use it. So we have to rely on.
I'm sorry, I was writing.
Whatever you guys.
So yeah, so basically asked that we renew our contract with ProSource with two machines with the same number of copies, just modified. She modified it black and white color.
Make a motion that we renew our contract with ProSource.
Second.
Last thing I have is I did make a copy of this and brought it. A copy of the employee handbook. Initially looking at 8.3.5. That is the provision that talks about paid sick leave, vacation leave, or comp time, and that time being counted toward any overtime hours. I'm not looking for any action tonight, just some discussion to think about for next time. So what this kind of means is, we had a good example here this past weekend with the floods. We called in 2 of our road crew personnel to help close roads, mitigate some of the flooding. And that was in the evening, worked until close to midnight on that night, Saturday night. The one employee already had vacation scheduled for tomorrow. And with the way this policy is written, they become straight time for that call in. So they would not get any overtime for that call in. I would like to add something. I don't know how, if you guys have some suggestions, where if we do an emergency call in, that we can give them time and a half for that call in time, as well as maybe situations where, like, we may have this coming weekend as well. There could be a burial on Saturday, and if there was some time off already, then we wouldn't have any option to give them time and a half for those extra days. So you guys have any thoughts or comments?
You're going to give them time and a half on compliments.
That's not, if we, yeah, I'm just saying, if we have a flooding event or something, and I call you at 2 a.m. and call you in, and you may have to work for 12 hours, it just to mitigate a problem. You had vacation scheduled for a Thursday. I don't know if you should be penalized because you were taking vacation and not get your overtime hours for those call-in hours. So I can write something up, an amendment to this, and then I'll send it out to you guys for review before the next meeting.
That doesn't sound fair to penalize.
I just think there's,
They should get time.
I just feel like if you get called in like that and we need you to come do something emergently, you should be able to get time to have for that, not be penalized because you had a vacation scheduled. So I'll work on something to modify that 8.3.5 and get that emailed out to you. The last one, again, this is just looking down the road thing. 8.3.6, that has to do with the max accrual of compensatory time for full-time employees. Our max accrual right now is 240 hours. If you go over the 240 hours of accrued comp time, we then pay that out as it's earned at your 1.5 rate. With the transition, and I'm not gonna get in the weeds right now until we get a little bit further down, but with our transition to a paid on call part-time staffing model, we may have personnel who are going to accrue that very quickly, because if part of your job as a full-time employee is making fire and EMS calls, you can't ever volunteer to do that. You can't do that for free. So if those get accrued quickly, would we want to consider, do we want to keep it at 240? Would the township consider if somebody accrues 240 and they want to, cash out, have a max amount that they're allowed to cash out at a time? If we could have employees that could essentially take about 3 months off in a row with this accrued time and vacation time and whatnot, which is maybe good for the employee, but it could be bad for the town. We want to have 3 full-time employees and somebody takes off, accrues all this time. And I'm not saying that we make it mandatory that we lower that number, but maybe we write a policy that would allow the employee to request X amount. It could be on a approved each one. That's something you'd like to look at or pursue or write something up and review. Okay. All right. And so that's not something we're worried about right now, but looking at it down the road. So that's all I have.
Steve?
Yeah.
Old business said? No old business. Miss Jenny?
I'm gonna say that the budget needs to be new business, so I have not.
All right, well then new business. Jenny?
New business, we had our budget hearing and the 2026 budget was read. So I just need a motion to submit the numbers as read to the budget commission.
Make a motion to submit the
numbers.
Numbers as read in the budget hearing.
Second.
All I got, thank you.
Ed, do you have any new?
Yes, next week I meet with two different general contractors that would be interested in the fire remodel, which are going to give me ballpark numbers since
Not to
we don't
exceed.
want to pursue that right now.
They can give us a not to exceed price.
More or less, yes. There's also a meeting to award our scholarship from the county trustees. I think it's coming up in a couple of weeks. I think I'm going to be gone. So if anybody would like to go to that, I'm more than welcome to.
I want to say it's like the
I can
14th. Does that
I think
sound great?
It's a team.
I want to say it was a Monday before.
I'll check the email and get it.
I could look it up. I don't.
I sent
There's something's going on that day. That's why I didn't know if I'd be able to go. So if you'd like to go, you're more than welcome.
I'll do it. Have any new? Community comments.
Rich.
You left.
You left.
I have something if nobody else does.
Mr.
Is there a charge to rent Whitaker Park, like the pavilion? Or is there somebody we need to contact to see if it's
First come, first
I
served.
was going to say, I think it's
first come, first served? Okay. I'll let them know. And is there like a calendar or anything to see if, okay,
Got fist fight for
no, I'm good, it isn't me, somebody else. I'm gonna fight you a lot more than that.
That's what we're here for, right? It's some action.
Where was my books? And then I have something else. I was at the May 7th meeting prior to the meeting. I spoke to Mr. Brzezinski out in the hallway. It was observed that he was spitting, using dip and spitting in a spit bottle on the serving line. I wanted to talk to him about that before confronting him in a public meeting. He informed me that if someone would have asked him, he would have taken it out. And he also informed me that it was approved by the Board of Health. Well, I contacted the Board of Health because I am in food service. It's not approved by the Board of Health. So soon, I'm going to give you guys all a copy from the Board of Health. So we're all on the same page, whether you're volunteering for the fire department, you're volunteering for just the public in general, you're volunteering for anybody where food is concerned. You are not allowed to use any type of tobacco products. Thank you.
Anybody else?
How is the levy paperwork progressing? Is it still at the county?
Everything is done as far as the auditor's office, and we got all the paperwork back, and the resolution to proceed was forwarded to the trustees and the fiscal officer today.
Okay.
But per board policy, we have a 10-day review period, so I'll bring that up July 23rd for approval. And then it has to be in the Board of Election by August 6th. So we should be fine from a timeline standpoint.
Okay. Yep.
Mr. Devery, you have anything? Anybody else? Nothing? Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Jenny, do you have any correspondence?
Please second my motion. Or that motion.
I'll second that.
I appreciate
Thank
that. I
you.
have no correspondence.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Like the church.
Second.